Isn't that funny? Are you there, Terry? Wow.
Hello, Erika.
You can hear me,
Hello,
right?
everyone.
It says your browser failed to play the clip.
Oh, it played.
It did?
Yeah.
Oh, so my browser just failed to put. Okay.
I saw it.
Well, why can't we go on stage?
But it says live.
But we're not on stage.
We're not on stage.
Okay, so technical difficulties.
Okay. Live viewer comments show up.
Wow. So maybe I was seeing something completely different than what you were seeing.
Oh.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. And I'm going to get this virtual. I didn't even see virtual background when we were talking before. This is really amazing to me.
Well, I've got the virtual background. I've got her there with her light and colors.
So this is what today's about. So the episode, are you burnt out? This is a description. Or are you being hunted by your own code? This might be your sacred turning point. In this raw, unscripted transmission, Erika, the Cosmic Mama, speaks from the fracture point where sacred work refuses to be entertainment and purpose breaks the mold of performance. This isn't goodbye, it's a veiled door, a signal to those whose gifts have been drained in daylight and whose truth has grown too sharp to whisper. Feel the pull. Good. Then it's time to walk your way. So, this is about the way. Let me get back to you. And walking your way, even when nobody else walks with you, because that's how it is. I think sometimes we're here and we think everybody's supposed to get along and everybody's supposed to, understand you, and everybody's, and it just doesn't work that way.
No.
And at some point, we are working with others and surrounding ourselves with others, and it gets to this point where you realize that you are basically being used as entertainment because you're around people, but the people are bored or the people are thirsty or hungry, and they just really want some entertainment in their life, and you're just basically this stand-in for people's personal entertainment, and they want you there, but they can't tell you why. And here we are as gifted human beings, gifted forms of light, gifted forms of God's presence right here. And you have a person like Terry who's extremely gifted and talented. Her time and words are valuable. My time and words are valuable. But valuable to who? Not everybody deserves what you're giving them. And not everybody can do anything with what you're giving them. And I feel like we spend a lot of time giving to people and we think that we're doing so much good because that's what's in our heart. But when it comes to these people, we're really casting pearls to swine. Have you heard that scripture before, Terry?
You know what? I've heard it because you've mentioned it a couple of times, but I don't know that. No.
Okay, so this is in the Bible. It talks about casting your pearls before swine. It also talks about like a woman without discretion is like a gold ring in the nose of a pig. Do you need what's the point of putting a gold ring in the nose of a pig? Because some people, they're really stuck on just looks, and it's like, yeah, the person has looks, but do they have brains and intelligence?
Right.
But when it comes to this, it says, don't cast your pearls before swine. If you do, the pigs will trample the pearls with their little pigs' feet, and then they will turn back to you and attack you. Holy cow. I didn't even know that was the whole scripture.
Whoa.
But I just remember hearing it. Casting your pearls before swine. So I want to share the screen.
What is that? From what book is that?
What do you mean? The book? The Bible?
Yeah, like from the scripture. What scripture is it from?
Matthew 7:6.
Okay.
Casting pearls before swine is a metaphorical idiom that means wasting something valuable on someone who won't appreciate it or understand it. God doggone it. Why is this so valid? It originates from and so let's hear it break the breakdown. These represent something precious, valuable, or meaningful as wisdom, insight, truth, or even kindness or effort. Swine, pigs, this symbolizes those who are unappreciative, disrespectful, or unable to understand the value of what's being offered. Casting, this means referring to the act of giving or sharing something valuable. And what do they do with it? Oh my God, let's go down here. It says the pigs will trample the pearls with their little pig's feet. I like how it says the little pig's feet. And then they will turn back and attack you. You know, I remember there's another scripture and it was talking about how, and we all knew this in 2020. Remember, it says people will hate the truth.
Right.
And this is the same thing with your pearls.
Mm-hmm.
People will hate the truth. Let's see. Oh, we got to do that one too. Because we got to get in here, y'all. We got to get in here.
Mm-hmm.
You got to dig. Oh, Lord.
Erika's got a big shovel today.
Ooh, wait. Let me go back to find another one. Take it, Timothy. There's so many of them. They hate the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So many scriptures about it. People who hate the truth and they will love lies. And so this was a thing that we discussed in 2020 because everything that was on TV that was a lie, people were fighting for it, you know, like, you know, will literally fight you for it. They perish because they refuse to love the truth. So be saved. And then basically we don't need to show it. It's all good.
Yeah.
People will hate the truth, right? So the little pigs will hate the truth and they will come back with their little pig feet. And what's on their little dirty little pig feet? Pieces of poop, pieces of mud. They will dirty your truth up. And this blows me away because it just reminds me of telling certain people facts or details or stories, and they can go and twist it for their own.
You said this, right? And you said that. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not.
They will misinterpret your story. They will add to your story. She only did this because of this. They only said that because of that. And they will get in there and they will get it all muddy. I remember even in 2020, I did one episode about human trafficking, and a girl wrote in my comments, "You don't care about kids." And I was like, number one, who the hell are you? How do you know what I care about? And I was just like being attacked by weird people all the time because her little dirty piggy feet. I didn't say her face, y'all. I said her feet. She got a hold of it. And she just was like, I'm going to twist this and turn this. And here it is, y'all, that you know, I will say this. Out of boredom, people will call you and sit on your phone. They will ask you questions. And it's funny because at Sprint, when I was selling insurance, they call them ask holes.
Aha.
You gotta stay away from assholes because they will play with you and your time. I'm gonna put that on the screen because they will play with you and your time. You think you're being useful, you're using up all your time and sharing your valuable knowledge, and it's a person who constantly asks for your advice, yet always does the opposite. It's more to it than that. It's more to it than that. Assholes are more than that.
Yeah.
Because you are entertainment. You got to realize you're here as entertainment to some people. So that is someone who frequently asks for advice and opinion, but consistently ignores it, disregards it, the advice given, and does the opposite of what is suggested. They ask questions to be polite or engage in conversation, but have no intention, and that's the big part. They have no intention of using or receiving your advice. Essentially, the question is a black hole of wisdom that goes nowhere. They really don't want your help. You know why? Because it's free.
Yeah.
And it's just something to occupy the time. It's something to do while they're driving, something to do while they're eating, something to do while they're just sitting at home bored. There's people who want to stay valid and stay in your life. They have no use for the information and wisdom that you have. But to stay valid in your life, they will sit here and take you down these roads and avenues and waste your time. When there's other people who value you, they will literally seek you out. And a lot of us, we're not waiting to be sought out. And so we've done time at our jobs. We've done time with our families.
So,
and
yeah, I just, okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm thinking about this from a different perspective, is that we have been, so let's use this word light workers. So we are sort of enlightened. We see things. We have been fed so much from this, let's say this called the false matrix, that we're light workers and that this whole new age stuff, and that, all we have to do is just love and do it for love. And it's okay. I can turn my other cheek. And it's like, damn, you know what? That really put a lot of us in a difficult place, because we did do that. And, like, we were put down, we weren't appreciated. And so what we're doing is, like, we're taking our light and dimming it to try and fit into something that's never going to be a fit. It's never going to be appreciated, because they can't see it. We see a different perspective on things. And so we have to look at it and say, you know what? Yeah, we can love people from afar, but it doesn't mean that we have to be trampled on. We don't have to cast those pearls to those people, because it really, and that's finding that balance within ourselves. And that's where we have to start appreciating our light, looking in that mirror and seeing that reflection and saying, okay, that's me. It's not them. I don't need to preach to the swine. I don't need to cast those pearls out there, because they're not really ready for that. But there are other people, when you hold your light, the other people will come to you. You
gotta know which way you're going.
Exactly.
You have to be firm in knowing your way. And that is going to require some inner guidance. That is going to require you to be able to listen to the voices. But if you're listening to the sound of your voice sounding good to other people, you won't be able to hear. And that's your ego talking. It's got you're on, I say, Black entertainment television. And Terry's heard me say this before. I am not BET. I am not Black entertainment television. I'm not here to sing and dance and shine for other people just for entertainment. I've gotten to this point now where, my internal processing is so loud that I can no longer listen to certain voices. And I had that auditory blackout yesterday. And I think it's just been long underway for me. I knew there was going to come this time where I have to go the way, right? But the voice, the internal dialogue, the internal voice and compass is so loud now that I can only focus on what my inner guidance is telling me, I can't watch a lot of videos. I can't do a lot of giving to certain people. Their voices are like pain in my ear. There's things I can't listen to because it's like pain in my ear, or it's so dull. I can feel the anxiousness rise up in my body, and it's like, nope, that's not what we're supposed to be doing right now. You can't hear this right, la 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 la, like la la, like I can't. And so it's gotten to a place where my space is very limited, and it's just the things that I'm processing and feeling on the inside are not something that's for everybody, because it's not for anybody else's criticism. And I think we really have to understand that those things, there's some things that you're going to begin to process that aren't up for other people's debate, their discussion, or their advice. It's not about advice. It's not about what they think or how they feel about what your internal processor is doing. This is going to be a time for you now to go off road. You're going to have to pull off road. It's not something you can share with everybody, because everybody doesn't have the discernment, the knowledge, the spiritual wisdom. They don't have the what you need. And you're going to have to trust that you have what you need. And you're going to have to go off road. The road less traveled. And I'm going to tell you, that's another scripture that I liked in the Bible before. And it was like, the path is narrow, right? And it says, I can't even remember it. I just remember that the path that we know, the path is narrow. So this is something I kind of always held inside me, is that whenever I would see everybody's doing it, I try not to be the person that goes the way where everybody's going, because it says enter by the narrow gate, for the wide gate is broad and it leads to the way of destruction. Mm-hmm. There are many who go by that way, because narrow is the gate that is difficult, in which leads to life, and few find it.
And sometimes we take a turn and there's no path at all. And so we have to create a path. And that, like what I found in my life is that, damn, there's no path at all. Or there's a path that's maybe, one.
Well, it looks like there's no, because it's so narrow. You gotta make room for it, and so and it says it's going to be difficult.
Yeah,
right. And that's why it looks like there's no path, because it is difficult.
It's difficult.
You're cutting through terrain that no one's been through before.
I've shared this before, but I'll share it again. I had a dream a while ago. And I was going someplace and I crossed a bridge. And when I crossed the bridge, there was just a mud flat. And it was like, and I could see that the mud flat it wasn't deep, and it was just, how, when you get that kind of muddy surface. And I thought, well, maybe I should go back across the bridge and follow the road. But I know that there had been heavy rains, and if I was going to do that, my wisdom was saying to me, well, you could do that and you could go backtrack and then take another route. But how do you know that road isn't washed out? And so then I stood on this other side of the bridge looking at this mud flat thinking, okay, well, I kind of have a direction where I need to go. So I guess I'll just walk and I will face whatever I have to face on this walk. But it was just so interesting that, we could go back onto a path that was there, but how do we know where that path is going to lead us, and if it's going to lead us to where we want to go? Yet sometimes we know where we're going, even though it doesn't look like there's a path, but it's one step in front of another.
Folks, this is it. It's coming a time where you're going to have to follow that that voice, and it's going to be hard to hear when you're listening to so many voices, when you're trying to read every book, watch every show, buy every device, because there comes this time when you have to choose the way yourself, right? And so you won't be able to hear the broadcast, but it's time to reclaim what is sacred. This is not, I think sometimes it gets to be, you get into this crowd of people and you lose the sacredness because you lose your individuality. And if you've been really, really listening, you'll feel their pull to go further. And I want to congratulate you because we have arrived at a point where this is a sacred turning point and it's time for you to follow the code, right? And so I'm saying this, that here we go. We're going to talk about the 5 steps to following your own code. And this goes right along with what Terry was saying. And amazingly, saw your cards this morning and I was like, wow, again, once again, this is going to blow your mind. So the 5 steps to following your own codes. Scan the disconnect. Ask yourself, where are you still performing or operating out of habit, where we're being pulled, like every Tuesday we do this, right? At 12, you meet so-and-so every Friday at 9:00. Or every time, this particular family member calls, you pick up the phone. Every time, you drive past this store, you stop. Where are the things where you're just performing, pleasing others, or performing something out of comfort and operating out of habit? And who benefits from your compromise? Next. I don't know if you want to say something about that, Terry.
No, I'm not. Yeah, maybe not. No, go on.
Okay. Choose pain or purpose. Both cost something, but only one pays back your soul. So you can choose to ignore your purpose and be dragged off the path, but you're going to feel the pain because of it. Now, design boundaries that guard your direction. Create a system, not a slogan. Close the gates that leak your power. Where are your boundaries not being respected? And where are you losing power? Because, we find ourselves going back on our word, things we said we were going to do and never do again. And we keep falling back into it. Speak the truth, even if it scratches your voice. So it can be scary, it can be hurtful, but give me one. I said to myself, give me a better analogy. Whispers become walls. Speak it out loud, even if it takes just a small, tiny voice to finally say the thing that you really want, and put up your boundaries. If you're writing a book, you couldn't necessarily be in a play at the same time, drive everyone to the airport, feed all the ducks, paint the house. You got to pinpoint what you're going to do with your time and choose a direction and lay it out. And that means sometimes you can't always do all the favors that you're used to doing because you're used to people pleasing. You can't always be there in other people's spaces doing what they need you to do, because what you have set before you is so important. It must get done. And when are you going to decide that I must get this done? I must challenge myself to go take this to another level. How many goals have you set and not been able to complete because you filled your life with everything that was important to everybody else?
Oh, that hits home really big. And I think for a lot of us, it's hit home. And part of it is because we have grown up in a society, especially, I'm going to say, especially women, because I'm speaking from a woman's point of view, that we have to be this and we have to be this and we have to do this and we have to, like we have to be part of the PTA and we've got to be part of the church and we've got to be a volunteer for this and we've got to volunteer for that. And meanwhile, you're doing all of that. But what your soul wants is just been, like I've taken the detour off the internet, off the interstate. And now I've got to get back on the interstate because my soul had a reason for coming. And this and all of these, they're all distractions. And these distractions, what do we say? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's taking us off of our path, off of what the soul wants, what we're supposed to be doing, why we came here as a soul. Meanwhile, all these other distractions, and then it's like, oh, you did this, you said that, you're not the good daughter, you're not this, you're not the good mother, and it's meanwhile what you're supposed to be doing is not playing to all of these distractions. And it's hard when you've been raised by society with all of these intentions that you have to do that. So yeah, you got to
When you've
find
been
your way.
raised to be manipulated, used, and put in traps and boxes to perform. This is all performance-based love that you're hearing. People who really love you want you to go out and find yourself and do magical things and live your life to the fullest. People who really love you don't want to put you in a cage that loves you only when you're doing exactly what they want when they want it. That's a clear sign of manipulation, and that's what I call witchcraft, is manipulation, making
Yeah.
people dance when they don't want to dance.
Yeah.
So number 5, your path is holy by walking it anyway, even when no one cheers you, because there's not going to be a great group of people standing there going, go, separate, go, let go of everything, go, do the things that make you happy, go, live to your highest purpose. That's not going, the crowds don't go screaming stuff like that. That's not how that works. Even when you don't know the ending, you have to go your way. And so here we are as these way showers. The only way you can show people the way isn't by flapping your gums, it's by going and doing it. Get with your internal compass, go for it, figure it out what it is that you're supposed to be doing. We're going to go on to these cards, and then we're going to wrap this up because Terry got to go, y'all. She got to go. So, and this is the Divine Abundance Oracle by Tasha Silver.
Yeah.
Ooh, art by Finna Gonzalez. And so,
I,
amazingly,
you know, this, like we always say this, it's like these cards come up and then the topic is like, are you kidding me? Because we don't coordinate this, but it's just like our higher selves coordinate it, obviously. But it's just amazing how they show up. Because hey, what were we talking about? Clearing is as true offering arises, it becomes easy to let go. You start to trust that more will always arrive. You shift from mine to God's, and such freedom. So this is all about clearing and letting go of all of those should have, would have, could have. You should do this and that, and it's clearing all of that and not living on somebody else's terms and nobody else controlling you. And this is about letting is you taking control of your own life and not living based on what those other boxes are. So it's a big step for us to do this clearing. And sometimes we need that physical association with it, like clearing a closet. I've just gone through a bunch of stuff. I cleared a closet and I had boxes and boxes and boxes of papers that finally needed to be cleared. The other day, I had a burn barrel and I was literally burning all of that. And every time I throw papers in, I'm letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of all of those things that I thought were part of that structure of my life. And meanwhile, it's looking back on it, it's like, boy, did it ever stop me from that creative part of who I was, being held by this paper structure. And that's what it was a paper structure. So that clearing is really important aspect for us to recognize and to proceed with. And Erika, what do you
I
have?
definitely was going to say hoarding. throwing away pictures, throwing away memes, throwing away quotes, and trusting that what you need is going to be here when you need it. That you'll be able to get what you need when you need it, because we're trying to control all these little boxes and pieces of paper and little crystals and things, because we got to have it all the devices. And there's a time you gotta just trust. When are you gonna trust that you have it all in here? That when you go down the path, that the little things sparkles and you see something in the bush and you're like, oh shoot, this is exactly the thing that I needed. I remember I had one of these. It's all here.
And then what does that lead? That leads us to courage. Let me be open to courageously take the steps that are shown. So as soon as you start clearing, then, like all of a sudden you are finding like, okay, I don't need those things to hold me back. And then you find that there's that space within you that comes up, that bubbles up, is like, and that's your courage, being able to step out onto that path that that your soul has been calling you to. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have to, you don't always necessarily see that. It's just taking that path. Well, that's the next path, but it's having the courage to take that, to open up onto that taking that gate that leads to that path that is less traveled.
And going it alone. Trusting that the compass on the inside is the one that you should follow, because we're always trying to get reassured and reaffirmed and validated. When can you validate yourself?
And you have your higher self, and we sometimes think we're doing it alone. We're not. We are a multidimensional being, and those other parts of us are seeing things from a different perspective. We're down here trying to navigate here, but we're becoming more and more multidimensional. What that means is that we're connecting with those aspects of ourselves that are part of a bigger picture. And once we start to make those connections real within ourselves, then we can step out. And that's what gives us the courage, because those aspects of ourselves saying, girl, we got your back. You just go and do it, and we will be there to give you the guidance that you need. And just listen to that inner voice within. Don't listen to all this kerfuffle and muddled stuff on the outside, because those voices are trying to get you to control you. Got to listen to that inner voice and listen to those steps. Those are the courageous steps that we take.
The road is narrow.
And then we step onto our path. Your path is, dear Lord, help me trust that there's a plan far beyond what I can see through my fears and illusions. And that's exactly it. Your path is going to follow. You're going to follow through with that, because you're being guided by your higher self. That is that multidimensional aspect that's always attached to God, to the creative source. Not listening to what this person says or that person says. Is that connection to that divine aspect of your being, and you will be guided on the right path, the right things to do and say and be. But as soon as we stop trusting that inner voice and start listening to the outside voice, then we get pulled aside.
Sharquisha don't have the answer. Kiki don't have the answer. Billy Bob don't have the answer for you. On the inverse of that, it is also being able to observe people and allow them to follow their own truth without you interfering, thinking that you have the answer, always giving your advice and interrupting. Sometimes we are getting to this point where, no, not sometimes, we need to get to this point where we can allow people and respectfully allow them to go their own way without interference, without our thoughts and opinions, because we're afraid that we're going to lose something when they. So, we always are talking about the one way, where we're saying what we can do for ourselves. when it comes to us being the victim. But now it's time to flip the perspective and show us as the actual bad guy. So as the bad guy, I have to let people make their own decisions. I have to let them make their own choices. And I just say the bad guy, as in I'm the opposition. I'm the person that, I'm not the one that's following my inner guidance. What about me as the observer of someone following their inner guidance? Move out of the way. That let people receive their karma when they're going the wrong way. If they're not asking you for true, real advice, move out of the way. You can tone down your ego by understanding your opinion doesn't matter to everybody. Your thoughts and feelings don't matter to everybody. You can back up out of the way. You're not Neo all the time. We don't have to be Neo. We're not here to be Neo for everyone else. You're here to be Neo, which spelled backwards, the one for yourself. You are not everyone's answer and solution. So back up off the busy road and stop trying to stop everybody on the busy. Hey, everybody, calm the freak down. Everyone has a way, and maybe their way is going to be further up the path, but you're trying to block them. All you are is static and noise to someone else. Move out of the way. Mm-hmm. Do what is best for you and let that person do what's best for them. And then sometimes you might meet people who are doing the best and yours matches. Maybe it doesn't. No guarantee. Go your own way. And so today, this is what I had decided is to go. My voices are taking me down a different road, a different path. And so I'm not going to be doing this on a weekly basis. I may create sometimes, but there's a lot that my internal voice has ready for me to do. And so it's time for me to go that way. But I know as some others of you, Terry has a lot to do. You can really look for her, not just on her website, but man, she'll be talking at different retreats and teaching different classes. And she's building a way. She has lots of things on her plate that are coming. And so now it's time for us to choose the things that bring us the most light, the most closest to our soul purpose. And so we're going to be going these ways. Like yesterday, for sure, if there wasn't something to reconfirm this for me, if it wasn't a reconfirmation in my life, is that I went through an auditory blackout. It was kind of like going blind, but going deaf. And I lost all hearing in one side. It was like someone pulled a plug. So something is unplugged, some artifact removed, and then all of a sudden extreme sensitivity and loudness on the other side. And I can say this has been building up for me, that I've been having this sensitivity to certain voices on the television, TV shows, or even with people where I'm just like, I can't deal with it. Either I can't hear them at all, or something in their voice is so loud that it's piercing to my ear. And I'm going through a time of sensitivity where it is requiring me that if I didn't listen to myself before, I have no choice but to hear it now. So if I wasn't listening to myself before, I have no choice but to hear it now. It's like, and yeah. Oh yeah, we could have took that off the screen. Stop sharing.
Yeah. Okay.
So it says we got one person there, but that might be me. But throughout the day, how YouTube says it. YouTube says that 5 people listened altogether. Somehow my friends have other shows and they say, "Oh my God, this person I met, they watch you." And Terry, I know you went out of town and someone was like, "I love you guys," and it's like, how? There's only 6 people watching. But anyway.
Yeah.
But these are here. We are here. We are around. You know us. You'll know how to find us. Facebook, YouTube, we'll still be reading the comments, and in Telegram, you'll find us because there's a way.
Yeah.
If there's a will, there's a way.
What's meant to be can't be stopped, right?
Cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
But we won't be the entertainment just for we're not background noise. Our voices are way too powerful to be background noise. Our voices are sacred, to be cherished and to inspire. And when someone is ready for sacredness and inspiration, come find me.
Mm-hmm. And find me. I'm around. Just may have to do a little digging, but then that's the way it's supposed to be. I'm on the other path. I'm not on the mainstream path. I'm on the other path. So
and let us know if you're feeling that same feeling.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to hit this button because I know Terry has to go too.
And I won't be doing cards readings today, but I will go back next week. I'll do readings.
Okay.
On Telegram.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Ooh.